next up is actually the screen. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the screen connected to the board is the next thing. And making sure that I get that pin soldered. That would be on this top corner right up here. Making sure I get this soldered is the next step. You know, I might want to tape that down, but whatever, we will manage as we are. Get you. Get into the hole. Get into that slot. Okay. It's in the slot. Now we have to get this wire soldered onto that pad right there without breaking anything in the process and without destroying the ribbon cable. Now I'm going to grab tweezers to bend this a little bit into the shape that I want it, because I want to be able to just have it right there, have it right there to hold it, to like push it into the solder once I get some on that pad. But I think this is going to be tricky either way. I may have to just use the tweezers to hold it in place. Yeah, that's what I think I'll have to do, is just use the tweezers to hold it in place. So, last little bit of soldering, ideally, of the build. I will mask up, get sorted. And that, as they say, is that. Okay, we have soldered that wire onto the pad. I just want to get a good look at that. Yep, didn't even need most of that pad. It just got dropped right on. I don't know if you can see it very well up there. I sure hope so. It's right down there, that pad. Okay, we're a little bit askew for the moment. The way that this is supposed to orient is this way, and this, there is supposed to be a twist there. This is supposed to go in there. Now, we have to be very, very careful with this part. Extremely careful with this part. This is the part where things start to get a bit more scary. We already know that the screen works. We know that the screen works. The screen is good. The screen is fine. Okay. We are also getting to that point. Turns out I don't need to actually have it like that. Yeah, we're at the point where I need to worry about the routing of these wires underneath. So I need to take a few moments, make sure that all of these buttons are not getting fouled and the sliders won't get fouled by the wires that are down here. I can worry about the further routing of the wires once everything is in place here. That is firm. I don't know if I'm actually good. Nope, because some of those wires, I knew it, some of those wires went underneath a button. The question then is, on this side, okay. Now everything looks good. Now everything looked good underneath the board until I did that. Okay. Alright. That is probably the best I can do on this first board. The suggestion at this point with I don't like how this wire has ended up looped around the ribbon cable. Don't like how that's ended up looped around the ribbon cable. Like that. That will make this a bit difficult. This right here around that. That's a problem. Okay. It up. Can it get fixed easily? Not really. I have to rerun the ribbon cable. Come on. Excuse me. Come on. There we go. Oh, but I can't rerun the ribbon cable because we've already soldered it in. Oh, well, that's fantastic. Alright, well, I guess we're just stuck with that, I suppose, unless I want to re-solder the thing. And now, of course, I'm going to have all the trouble in the world getting this pushed back in all the way. Okay. Pad on. Pads on. Red wire to the side. Okay. Red wire over here. Yep. Alright. Now, reorienting ourselves, the instructions say that we can actually begin to put 2 of the screws in. So, what exactly are the screws that it is suggesting for use for this right now? Because we've got several sets of screws included, every one of them different. Where's that third set of screws? Is there a fourth? I don't think there's a fourth. I think that's just the 3 So which set of screws is it suggesting for this? Short fasteners work here. Short. Well, this is short, this is longer, and this is longest, so this must be short. And they are Phillips screws. Let's get that on. And my smallest Phillips. Well, my smallest here. That feels decent, but I think it is a size up. Yeah, it's a size up. So this is a pH 0, it seems. And it says we can fasten here. That's not fastening. It also said we could fasten here. So, no, that's... Okay, that caught something. I'm not going to tighten. I'm not going to tighten. I'm just going to use it to keep it in place. In fact, I'm probably going to unscrew a bit. Let it not be torqued as hard as I can torque it. Okay, it said we could put those two screws in right now specifically. Don't know about this one with that USB-C there, but probably blocks on that one by having USB-C. Okay, let's get the plastic off of this. And get this guy put in its proper place underneath. Oh boy. Yeah, this is a little bit messy back here. Go away, you. Oh boy. Now, we don't actually need to get this completely in place at this moment in time, but I'm just doing it anyway. Oh yeah, speaking of soldering, as it turns out, we do have 2 more things to do for soldering. That's right, there are 2 more wires, and that has to do with the upgrade for the power. The power, yes, power. Let's make sure that that switch is turned into the off position. So we have here a 1700 milliamp hour battery, and it has 2 leads. But it also runs from a connector, a quick disconnect. So you are able, I think we can disconnect these somehow. You are able to exchange the battery out without having to desolder it, is, I think, the idea here. This is going to live in the battery compartment, of course. Inside the battery compartment, where we have this cutout. Excuse me, this cutout is for the pins, as you can see. Has things like just not squeeze in. So we have a little bit of room on a cutout. I think this is the... This is where it wants me to run it. It's like, but that means they're going to be up against the... Huh. Alright. I mean, it means that these leads down there that will ideally be tucked under... Oh goodness, that's a tight fit. That's a really tight fit. Oh god. Alright then. But you can see the issue is that we have to run this, like, through here. That's how it's being shown in the picture anyway. Slid through. Okay. We're in. I guess. Okay. Just pull. And don't short them. For the love of God, don't short them. Ground is on the left. Back here. Live is on the right. Back here. Or on closer to me. So bottom, top. We know the drill by now, at least we should. Rosin, flux on the pads. Mask on. Tin. Not gonna tin the cables this time. This is gonna be a little bit awkward to position these cables. See, these are thicker cables. I should have used thicker cables on that USB-C. And of course, that's going to be the one that gives me problems. Okay. Alright, they're attached. Which means technically this board is live now. Assuming that the battery is charged, this board is live. Yes. Ba-ding! Okay. We have done that, and that is, unless we force something off, unless we pull apart something, that is the end of the soldering. So soldering iron is now off. Cover up that brass wool. Off to the side it goes. That, thank God, is that. Now it is simply a matter of assembly. Okay. Now, technically, we're supposed to have, yeah, the ribbon cable. Ribbon cable is supposed to be above the screen. Not bent, but actually just sorta hanging out like so. Just hanging out. Now, it does say to tape it in place, and I will do that. If I can find my tape. Where did I put my... There. Do I want to use the big guns? I think I want to use the bigger guns for this. This glorious, beautiful, thick boy. If I can get it started. Uh-oh. Gloves. Gloves! Come on, there. There we go. It has started. Scissors? Alright. How big of a piece do I want? Because I need to, like, get the board pinned from the back, and I need to get the ribbon cable pinned. As flat as possible without bending it, or without, you know, creasing it. I think that will do. Yeah. We'll find out very shortly. We will find out. Alright, the foam. So, with the foam, we're actually gonna have to not use all of it. With the foam, we're going to have to cut out, like, the edges here. So, cutting out from here and a section in the middle. Just, we want to get around the edges. We want to cover these edges to here. So, with this stock foam, I'm just gonna cut away a bit. I'm purposefully not gonna cut an... I'm gonna leave it such that I need to keep cutting it into shape. Okay. That... Is that gonna be okay? I think that should be okay. We'll find out. We'll find out. As soon as we try to insert this piece. Moment of truth. Huh. Yeah, that's not happening. That's honestly too thick of foam. Because I'm feeling the foam is pressure. Oh, there's a wire poking out. There's a wire poking out from under the screen. Don't want to have that. Plastic. Stupid wire. Get back. Don't make me take this screen off. Don't make me take this screen off just to push a wire back. Oh, I think that's a black wire. Looked blue for a second there. Okay, are you good? Yes. No issue there. Now, fortunately, we have power. So I can flip the switch and we can see, hey, there's the screen. Now, what I'm going to need to do is actually have that on as I take this back panel and try to slide it into place. So if I start to see some distortion, that means that we are in fact we have too much pressure on that screen. I think we've just gotten away with it. We may have just gotten away with it. But that foam is super thick. If I can thin that foam, I think that I should. I think that I should thin out this foam. I need to, like, scrape away at this. It's just ever so slightly too thick. It's either that or not use it at all, but I really think we should use it. How does this even go in? Does it just sit like that? Does it, like, just sit and held in place by 2 entire screws? Is that it? Is it's just there? 2 screws? Holding it in place? Yeah, so it needs to have something back there. It's just I don't know about the thickness of this. Now, there was also just a bit of pressure. Actually, it was on this side, I think. No, it was on this side. So there's this little overhang here that I need to account for, and I think it's just the foam positioning that if I have the foam right, yeah, I'm gonna trim this a bit more. Just a little bit more. It wants to stick to me. Wrong way. I wanted to trim it a bit more, and I think I have to trim that a little bit too. Just so that it sits a little bit lower. Just so that it sits just a little bit lower. You see how it's sitting across the top there? Of course, as I get experience doing this, this is the first time I've made one of these, and I would like to make more of them. Since this is the first time, of course, it's going to take longer. And of course, there's going to be this learning curve of, hey, what is the exact shape of the foam that I need to use? Like, what foam do I need? Did you just... What are you doing? What are you doing? It goes in. It doesn't really need to slide, but it's supposed to sit. Why are you having so much trouble now? Why are you having so much trouble now? I have to clean that. Looks good. Looks good, and I'm not seeing any issues. We'll see if that holds up once I put the screws in. Everything will come down to how does it look once the screws are in. Ultimately, that's going to be the deciding factor. Okay, that is done. Squeeze the metal parts together before turning the fasteners. Which fasteners are we using for this? It says 5mm. Well, what screws are 5mm? I'm going to assume that these long ones are the ones that are for the back panel. So I'm going to imagine that the 5s are from this other bag here, that they're this size. Seems that they've given us more screws than we potentially need. Yep, not going to tighten that all the way. Nope, you're not caught. Oh. You aren't going to work. Alright, so clearly these are not the screws. these are not the screws. I don't know. These screws, they no work. They don't work here. Not for this. Okay. Well, there's that pack of 4 that seemed to be a little bit longer. So maybe it's these. Yep, that was easy. Yep, there we go. So it was the pack of the longer ones after all. That is that. Now, with those screws in place, I'm just going to switch the power on. And it looks wonderful. At least by my eyes. We've got a little bit from like how it does the backlighting, a little bit of glow, side glow from the backlighting, but you know what? I'll take it. That's fine. There's a fly buzzing around in here, and there's a cat watching the fly. Oh boy. As we are over 3 hours in to this, there is, of my time working on this, this will be edited to all hell, and it will take likely longer to edit than it took to record. But, yeah, we are... Can you believe we're almost done? We are almost done. What we need next, actually, would be the shoulder buttons. Shoulder button time. So, from the original case, we need to pull out these shoulder buttons. And I'm just going to take these screws and move them to the side. And I'll take these screws and move them up here. So, shoulder pads, bumpers, whatever you want to call them. These have pins and springs. It has here as the next item on the agenda to add the springs. So we'll put the springs in the holes for the springs, or in the holes for the triggers. Now, Wyatt wants us to put the pegs in first. I don't know. I'm realizing that I've run this red hey, Ollie, knocking things down. So, how do the triggers work on one of these? That's a great question. How do the triggers work on one of these? So we've got the right trigger here. All it says is slide them into position as if they don't need spring? What? Hey! Get out! Ollie just, like, knocked over the red half that had all the buttons. Okay, I think that's all the buttons taken care of. Alright. So how are the springs supposed to go? Do you just not need springs with this? What in the world? How are you pushing the button? How do you... What was that? Oh, that was the other trigger. What? Oh, you know, it would help if I were to put the right trigger on the side that does right. You know, that sounds like a pretty good plan to me. I don't know about you, but yeah, this is where right trigger goes. Yeah, the wires are fine. It's just I really think it should have the spring. Why does this not talk about the spring? Like there should be a spring. The spring should be in there. Like it loses that responsiveness without that spring. So I don't know. I don't know about this aspect of the case. Like if it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it. It doesn't say to do anything with the springs. I don't even know where the other spring went. Where's the other spring? I have one spring. The other spring sprung, I guess, somewhere. Maybe someone more sharp-eyed than me knows where the other spring went, can see it somewhere. But as far as I can tell, this is how this goes. And it doesn't use springs. Hey, future otaku here. I just wanted to point something out with the shoulder buttons. As it turns out, the instructions, they seemed wrong because they are wrong. Yeah. This is going to be one of those lessons of don't put all of your faith into instructions all the time, because they are often they can be wrong. So in the online manual on the assembly of the Unhinged V2, it tells you to install the shoulder buttons. Oh, as everything comes undone. There we go. Betterer. This is also going to be a preview of what the final state is going to look like. It tells you to put the pins in on the shoulder buttons on this part of the board, and it says to put the shoulder buttons on, and it makes no mention of the it makes no mention of the springs that are associated with the trigger buttons. It doesn't talk about the springs at all. And there's a picture, legit. There's two pictures, one putting the pin into the holes on this part of the board, and then putting the shoulder buttons on without those springs on this side of the board. And there's no other mention about the shoulder buttons at all in the rest of the document. That is not how you are to install these shoulder buttons. These shoulder buttons get installed exactly the same way as you would on a normal Game Boy Advance SP. They go in with springs. The springs are I'll call them handed. They are unique to each button. They are wound differently to fit into a groove on the underside of the button. And there is a little hook. There's a little hook. The spring, normally, the spring will have a little jet out here. The top of the spring will be like way out here. You have to bend it around and down and into this slot. This slot keeps the buttons in place when you are reinstalling the back, when you turn the back over to push it into place. And it is so easy to push it into place, once I have moved all of the cables out of the way, but also it gives that satisfying response. The buttons do immediately return to their not pressed position afterwards. So that was just an addendum that I wanted to make here at this point in the video, because yeah, I had a lot of complaints while recording. It did not feel right. I made this very clear that it did not feel right, that the springs were not included in the installation, and I have made the determination that that is because the instructions are simply wrong. So let's get back to the rest of the video as I screw this back in. All right. Interesting choice. Ah, we have to uninstall the cart guide. I see. So this cart guide, are we going to use fasteners? It says use short. Well, which short? Because you have short, you have medium, and you have long. You told me to use long on one specific thing, so this goes on this guy here. I think that's what that picture is telling me, that it goes on. Oh, that hole wasn't poked completely. This hole was. This one on the left wasn't at all. But it said use short, so I'm going to use the shortest. And then I'm going to have to, like, use the screw to poke through, because I think it must have been cut, just not the surface. I don't know. This may be a manufacturing defect. I am missing the hole here, right here. Let me see if I can, like, poke it. Can I poke it? No. No, so Boxy, you have a manufacturing defect here. The left side hole on the card reader, or the card guide, left side hole doesn't take a screw. You can't screw there. The hole isn't done. In fact, it's a post. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. It is just the one screw, and that is actually just a post. That is actually just a post on that side. It does not have a fastener. I stand corrected. It is just Just the post with no way of keeping that there. It's intentionally left out and has a post in its place. Use kept on over it to be saved, so it doesn't short the PCB. All right, use tape. Tape. Capped on. I don't think this is technically capped on brand, but it's heat resistant tape. That's what this is. It is heat resistant tape. Everyone just calls it capped on though, for whatever reason. Just gonna clip off a little bit. Come on, scissors, scissors, scissors. I need you to cut. I need you to cut. So, what does it want me taping? How does it want me taping down? I have no idea what it wants me taping down, how it wants me to get it put down there, but alright, we'll go with that. I think I would have preferred the double-sided tape under this, frankly. It's very thin for the tape, but maybe it would be enough for it to end up like touching the PCB. Or, you know, just screw the dang hole. Just make this a screw hole. Like, there's no reason for this to just be a peg and then tell people to tape over it. Like, no. That's not good design. That's not designed well. Okay, it says test your buttons next, as my other trigger isn't in the peg anymore. It's like, well, I know that these are fine. Okay. Next up is the power switch, if I can find the power switch. The power switch will go in here. Are you gonna... Wow, is that... How much pressure do you need? What? It's like this thing is like... It needs to go in there. It gets stuck. What? Am I even doing this right? Hold on. Does it go like this? No, but this is how it's supposed to... like, do the... stuffs. Like, this is the section for the power. Yes? Can we agree? This is supposed to be able to slide easily, but as it turns out, this has been designed, as I have intruders, this has been designed such that I have to cut this down, or like bend it, flatten it a bit more, because it does not fit, and it be able to like move. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. I can put it in, but it doesn't move. Because the tolerance was too tight on this one. Like, guys, come on. It's is not that hard, unless it just sits on the top and doesn't go all the way down. I don't know. I don't know, then what's the point? It doesn't really want to slide when it's in there. Yeah, I don't know. That's super strange. Needs to be able to go back and forth with a click, not with a freaking mountain strongman amount of force. And this whole time it's bending this down here. Now, if I do it the other way, right, it doesn't sit low enough. It doesn't sit low enough. Here, let me try to show this. So this right here, this part is poking out too much in the middle for this switch. Like the, oh, you know what? I don't think it's that. Ooh, it may not be that. It may be this edge. Ah, that edge. This one is fine. This edge is fine. This is too small. Huh? So I can get... You see how I can, like, easily get the left-hand side in? The right-hand side. That's the problem. Right there. That's the problem. The right-hand side is not identical to the left-hand side. Alright, well, I guess a way to fix it would be to cut away a little bit on whatever could be fouling up that width on the actual switch itself. Now, I have a pair of pliers. Get off cable. I have a pair of offset pliers that I can use to hopefully trim this. We're going to start with that little nubbin. Do I really want to get rid of that nubbin? Or do I want to try to, like, trim the overall thickness? I think I want to just trim the overall thickness a little bit. That's how he says. So now how does it work? It's not a satisfying slide. It doesn't, like, click into place. It sort of, like, smushes. It sort of just smushes into place, so I think I need to go a little bit more if I can. All right, I did a bit more, and now we have a satisfying click. So basically, I had to use my clippers to trim the thickness of this piece down a bit so that I could get it to easily slide. Wow, that's super dumb. I shouldn't have had to do that, but apparently with this particular switch, in this particular Unhinged build, I have to do that. All right, now I know. For the future. For future me, I now know. I still find it weird that these shoulder buttons don't have the springs. I still find that weird. That oh god, they will have the springs. It's just that the springs go on the top side. How in the fudge am I supposed to do that? This guide does not talk about that whatsoever. This guide does not talk about the springs whatsoever, and they totally have the things with the springs on the other section. But getting them in is insane. That's not actually possible, is it? Is that even where the springs are gonna go? Now what's fouling me up? Probably all of those extra cables, you know? That's probably what's doing it. Okay. Now how in the world am I getting this in here with all this wire? That's a great question. How am I getting in this here with all that wire? I guess maybe as long as I can fit the piece there. I don't really need the 1700 to face up right. I just need the plastic piece there, and we can smush those wires like that down. Hopefully that would be enough for the back plate to close over it. I don't like it. It almost seems like it's bulging there. But I'll take it. At this point, I'll take it. Okay. So there are screws, apparently, that need to go in. We've got... It says you can use either the short 3mm or longer 4mm screws here. Either one is okay. So either these, at least I think it's these, or the next one up. And it says start with the 3s and only use the 4s if you need them. Well, alrighty then. Need more you. At least they give us plenty. At least they give us plenty of these. Ugh. There's a little bit of tape poking. I I have to open up. Out. There you go. Tape. Alright, I'm gonna cut it. If I can get a good angle on it. Just don't wanna see it. That's the key. You don't want to see it. Okay. Now make sure that we're actually good. Good to try to screw ourselves down here. Answer is nah. Okay, got that one. These holes are really, really deep. And they're recessed. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. Hold up. That one made a noise I didn't like. Yeah, I really don't like those shoulder buttons. This one I think is getting fouled a bit by the cables. This one I think is the cables. I will open this up later and have a look at all of it. Just get those wires run better. For the sake of this particular video, I am gonna call it, because I can see there's a bit of a gap there. That's most likely caused by those wires. I may need to shorten them and like redo them and all of that, but that's going to be some tedium. Looks like I got a little bit of stuff on the face. I want to make sure that that's not there. So give me IPA. This may leave a little bit of a streak, but it's okay. Get the excess IPA off, and then isopropyl, and then clean off that smudge. clean that smudge. We don't want smudges here. No smudges allowed. No smudges allowed. Alright, all that's left now is getting the battery door put on. Step last. Battery door. Now, I'm assuming that it says you use 2 flathead fasteners, so any 2, I think, on this are good. One, and come on. Two. Et voila, we have a GBA Unhinged with USB-C and headphone jack. I will need to test, and as I can immediately tell, this button has something behind it, so I need to fix that. These are fine. These are fine, but this one got something behind it. There's a bit of force. I can't push this button for the brightness, meaning it's either there's something that got caught on it or I need to trim the thingy. As I said, I am going to open this up again to take care of like wire routing and stuff. But I think that looks good. I don't know about you. I think that looks good. I guess the test is if I put a game in, will it play? Will it play the game? The answer is, of course, yes. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It will play. The R button works, although it's pretty unsatisfying. L works. Again, pretty unsatisfying. I don't know why they don't want you to use those springs. Start works, select works. As for the quality of the screen itself, I think that screen is just amazing. There's no dead pics. There's like nothing bad about it whatsoever. It's glorious. This screen is absolutely glorious. I will say that there's like a line of black on this side and this side, I think just from the placement of the plate over the top. But that is fine. That is fine. As it is. It is it is winter. Yes, let's do more tomorrow. Yay. It's working. It's working. But are the charging ports working? Oh boy. Are we about to fry the whole board? Here's my charger. Main charger. Put it in. And we have a charging light. We have the light. It is charging, although it's a little intermittent. I see that it's like on and off a little bit. So, standard cable does work. USB-C. Does the USB-C charge? Yes. USB charges, and there's actually no issue on that. None. I'm seeing solid light on the USB-C charge. So, we are successfully charging through USB-C. Now, ideally, this would also mean that we will successfully have audio through that audio jack. Now, somewhere around here, I have a audio cable that I can plug in that will plug in to my headphones. That is the wrong end. Okay, that's a little bit of a tight fit for a 3.5mm. Undo that. Plug it in to there. Now, will this make my headphones go pop? That would be sad. Okay, so there are some issues I do need to fix. The right side is intermittent, so I need to find our out. Yeah, it's got like popping and stuff on our out, so something's going on there, and it's doing it when I move around the cable here, so there's something, probably a short to ground on the right out, but you know what? We have audio through a 3.5mm jack on a Game Boy Advance SP Unhinged. It works. It works. I know you can't hear that it works. Not until I unplug. But it works. It functions. It's good. With that, God, if you've enjoyed this journey, please be sure to do all the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it through this entire build log, I don't know if I'm going to split this into several videos or if I'm just going to have one long build log on this. But yeah, I will need to crack into it, try to get these triggers more responsive, and figure out that right headphone issue. Yeah, that issue with the right headphone. But God, this looks so nice. Oh God, this looks so good. It is in fact a very, very beautiful case. I want to make it clear that despite the issues I had with the power switch and with getting the slide for the piece back here on, yeah, it's been decent. It's been decent. It's taken 4 hours to do this, so now I know that if I'm to record this, it will take 4 hours. If I'm just doing it myself, it's probably gonna take 3 or less, especially now that I've done it once and I know what to do. I know the pitfalls, etc. I know that the wires can be a lot shorter. I should actually measure said wires and make them shorter. I have a general idea about the shape of the foam I can use for this, etc., etc. It is just, I like this build. I like it. I like it a lot. Now I will be selling this. That's the other key thing here. This one is not for me. This one is for someone else. This one is to be sold. I am not keeping it. I want to make it as perfect as I can get it, so that the next person who has it can enjoy it immensely. But for now, again, thank you all for watching, and we'll see what the next video is for repairs and stuff, because my intention is to do this with basically every Game Boy Advance SP 001 system that I can get back up and running. If I can get it back up and running, I'm going to be doing this to it. It takes a while for the shipping on these cases, but my goodness, it is so nice and so worth it to have the full backing as well. They sell just the front plate section, just the front two pieces, and you can like hook up an actual plastic housing, the original plastic housing here as the back. They actually are interchangeable, but I'm not going to do that. That's cheating. That's cheating. And there are people who have those listed on eBay as well. We're doing as full of a build as possible. Now, how I will end up fitting the amp and power cleaning boards onto this in the future, on future builds, on builds that actually do need to have the amp in order to have any volume of audio out, that's gonna be a bit of a mission. That's gonna be a bit of a mission in and of itself. But you know what? I will overcome. I will cross that bridge when we get there. For now, I have a lot of cleanup to do, some troubleshooting to do, little bit. I just wanted to mention here at the end that yes, I have taken care of the missing spring. Of course, if you saw my little addendum in there, I got both of the buttons with the spring working. Yeah, the spring was inside of the inside the case, right by the card reader in the middle. It was like sitting on top of those pins. So it's like, oh boy, that's where that missing one went. But I wanted to also say that I have managed to fix the issue on the 3.5mm jack with the right ear sound coming in and out when I would like wiggle the jack in there. That was because the wires for the R out and the mute were shorting on the actual jack, on the jack. The way that I had taped it up in there was not sufficient to prevent that from shorting. And I have cleaned both of these ports. So now when I plug in with a normal charge, although this one is technically a USB, but whatever. When I plug into the charge port with a charger, we're no longer getting the like flashy orange. We have a nice solid orange light there to indicate that we are in fact solidly charging. And that was just a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a precision Q-tip, just wedging it on in there to clean off the contacts for power. And that is just the update on things. This is now fully working. And having done all of that, we're going to have to end off this video here. The build has taken and will take a very, very long time to complete. There will be several videos in this series, so thank you for watching this one. This has been Otaku Showboat. If you have enjoyed today's video, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushowboat if you're so inclined and able. I will be back on the next one.